Story time about how my fiance cheated on me with my niece who's 18 years old. Disclaimers is not my story time. I was sending me on Instagram. My fiance and I have been together a total of 3 years. We got engaged exactly 1 year ago. When we first met, he was totally obsessed with me. He begged me to go out on dates with him, but I never said yes. We met through friends and my friends ended up giving him my address. So this man would send me gifts every single week. It started out with flowers, then he would send me champagne, then he started sending me designer bags. When I told my parents all of this, they were really impressed by his wealth. And ultimately, they convinced me to call him and thank him for the gifts. And when I did that, he begged me to go on a date with him. I was scared of being impolite, so I said yes. But looking back, I should have listened to my instinct and not gone on the date. We went on a total of 3 dates. And after that, he started talking about marriage. I told him it was way too soon and that I didn't even know if I had feelings for him. But of course, he insisted for months. My parents really pressured me into saying yes to being his girlfriend, so I did. After 6 months, I was finally starting to feel something for him. Here are a few reasons why I never really liked him. He was rude to all of the waiters and servers at restaurants. He talked bad about his mom and his friends to me all the time. And he would constantly talk down to other women. But like I said, finally, I was starting to like him a little bit. He asked me to marry him and everything was fine. Up until he met my 17-year-old niece. He started buying her designer bags and cell phones. Part 2 is up. Part 2 of how my fiance cheated on me with my niece. Disclaimer, it's not my story time. I was sending me on Instagram. When my fiance first met my niece, he would compliment her so much about her looks. He told her in front of my entire family that she was so beautiful and womanly for being so young. This made my family and I really uncomfortable. But my niece was super flattered. And before I knew it, he was buying her gifts. He went behind my back and bought her the latest iPhone. And then he gifted it to her at our next family event. My sister, who is my niece's mom, said no. She didn't want to accept the gift, but my niece begged her. The following weekend was my niece's birthday. That day, he gave her a Gucci purse. Once again, my sister said she couldn't accept that, but my fiance insisted. That's when he told me and my sister that he always wanted a daughter like my niece, and that he was so proud of her for doing so well in school. Obviously, he was lying. After my niece's birthday, I told my fiance to stop buying her gifts. I told him that it was incredibly inappropriate and that he needed to take them back. That's when he told me that he could do whatever he wanted and he didn't need my permission to give my niece gifts. By this point, I was falling out of love with him. This is when he started inviting my niece over to our house for dinners. He would cook lavish meals for my niece and I. This is also when he started taking her to the mall for shopping trips. And the only reason I found out was because I tracked his phone. Part 3 is up. Part 3 of how my fiance cheated on me with my young niece. When I tracked his phone, I saw that he was at the mall. I called him 5 times and he wouldn't answer his cell phone. Finally, I call my sister and I ask her if my niece is home. That's when she tells me my niece had left the house with her friends 4 hours ago. And that's exactly the amount of time that my fiance had been out of the house. I told my sister I was really concerned about the relationship between them and that we needed to look for them right away. By the way, how stupid is he not to realize that I could track him? My sister and I finally reached the mall, but they weren't inside. And we looked everywhere. We started looking through the parking garage and we finally found them. They were in his car full on making out. That's right, my 18-year-old niece and my 36-year-old fiance. My sister pulled my niece out of the car. My fiance jumped out of the car and started defending himself right away. That's when he said that my niece came on to him and that he was trying to stop her from kissing him. That's when my niece spills all the beans. She told us that for 2 weeks he had been taking her everywhere and buying her gifts, that he had even taken her to a hotel room for you know what. My sister called the cops, but the cops said they couldn't do anything about it because she was already 18. But her and I have a feeling that this all started before that. But my niece says no. My fiance, like the coward he is, he grabbed all of his stuff from our apartment that same night and left. And no, I haven't heard from him since. But I took all the money we had in our joint account. Over $200,000. Bye.
Yesterday, I was supposed to spend the night at my friend's house with some of my classmates and we were playing Truth or Dare. There really is no reason for us to choose truth since we already know a lot about each other, so we mostly just went with dares. It was pretty fun and we had some weird challenges. I was sitting next to my friend's brother when it was my turn and a classmate challenged me to kiss him. His sister immediately told my friend to change the dare and so she did. To be clear, her brother didn't say anything when he heard about the dare and just laughed, so he definitely looked like he was okay with it, right? Well, wrong, because after I kissed him, he told me what the fuck am I doing and he looked like he was really grossed out by it. I was honestly a bit offended and asked him why he was so grossed out by me kissing him. I'm actually a pretty okay looking girl and even if I wasn't, there was no reason for him to act like this. He ended up leaving the game and my friend told me that what I did was wrong on so many levels and to get out of her house. My other classmates didn't say anything, so I think they were on my side, but they didn't want to participate in this argument. I'll ask them when they go back home. Anyway, I did end up leaving. Am I the asshole for kissing my friend's brother without his consent during a truth or dare?
Am I wrong for ruining my sister-in-law's gender reveal? So I, 31 male, have 3 beautiful daughters, 7, 5, and 2, which for some reason people in my life think I'm not completely happy with. If I had $1 for every time I heard, I bet you wish you had a son, or are you ever gonna try again for a boy, I'd be a millionaire. Look, if my wife got pregnant again and had a boy, my reaction would be the same as the other 3. In my opinion, as long as your child is healthy, who honestly cares? Oh, props to this dad. I never hear guys talk like this. It's so refreshing to hear. The worst and most annoying people towards my wife, give me a son, are my sister-in-law, 29, who has 4 boys and now pregnant with her 5th child, and my mother-in-law. Last Sunday, we were at my mother-in-law's for Sunday lunch, and my sister-in-law said after dessert to come out to the back garden as they had a balloon to announce the gender of their new baby. Well, long story short, she was having another boy. After everyone congratulated her, she made her way to us and said, "I bet you wish just once it would be blue for you guys," then turned to my wife and said, "It's never too late to try again." It royally pissed me off because my oldest was in earshot. I turned to her and said, "Well, actually, Alice, I wouldn't give one of my daughters dirty socks for what boys wear in Europe, and the fact that you base your love on your child's gender says a lot about you as a mother. I don't need a son, so I suggest you take your advice and stick it." She stuttered for a second and then burst into tears, saying I was putting her and her kids down. The mood was ruined, and after that, we left. Since then, my in-law said she deserves an apology, and it's been a long-running joke, so I shouldn't have driven my sister-in-law to tears. Wait, what is it called? Can't take what you... Eat what you dish? Can't take what you dish? I can't remember the saying. Am I wrong for not wanting to make my friend a wedding dress for the cost of materials? So I have a degree in fashion, which some people think means I can be their personal seamstress. I'm used to this problem and I don't mind helping out, but I never work for free. My pregnant friend recently reached out to me and asked me if I could make her wedding dress and sent me a picture of the idea she had in mind. It isn't exactly a simple dress, but it's also not the most complex I've ever done either. I told her I could for sure do this for her and it would cost around 600 pounds. She was shocked at this and told me that she thought I'd do it for free and just pay for the materials. Why would she assume that? I pointed out how many hours this would take me to do and all the hand embroidery needed. Then I explained I was doing this for a quarter of the price I charge other people because she's my friend. At this point, she started to get very upset, telling me I have no idea how much stress she's under with the wedding and the fact she's pregnant and how money is tight and how this should be my wedding gift to her and how great it looked in my portfolio. I don't think I'm being unreasonable to want some money for this, but other friends are telling me it's horrible how I'm wanting to charge her for this and it's not like I'm a high-end bridal shop. So, am I being unreasonable? No, your friends suck.
I was at Kentucky Fried Chicken the other night, and they had no chicken. Technically, I got the last of the chicken in my order before all the other customers went completely feral. And I felt so bad for the employees, because when I worked in food service back in high school, customers could get pretty abusive. But now it's gotten so much worse that I feel like every time I go into a restaurant, there's some kind of a sign up that says something to the effect of like, "Attention, valued but rude customers. Due to a global pandemic, we are experiencing a shortage of both humans and rations at this time. If we are unable to meet your needs today, please refrain from murdering, emotionally maiming, or traumatizing any of the employees who have not yet quit this hellhole job that is serving you. Thank you." And this poor girl at KFC was telling everybody, "I'm sorry, we're out of chicken." And people were responding to her as if what she was really saying was, "I'm sorry, we're out of chicken because I ate it all already." People were demanding evidence like they thought they were in some kind of weird chicken-related prank. One lady said, "I want to speak to your manager." And I just thought, what is the 22-year-old KFC manager gonna do? He's not in charge of the chicken supply chain. But this girl told Karen, "We're out of chicken." And Karen said, "I want to speak to your manager." And the girl was like, "Okay." And the manager came over and Karen said, "You're all out of chicken." And the manager went, "Yup." And Karen just went, "This is ridiculous," and left. And I was like, what is the point? What was the point of that interaction? Why did she need that? I understand being excited that you're going to get your food or you're going to get a special treat and then not getting it and feeling disappointed. Okay, I've been there. One time I was having a rough day and I went to McDonald's to get an ice cream cone and I paid for it and I got up to the window and instead of handing me an ice cream cone, the lady handed me vanilla flavored frozen yogurt on a cone, which is unacceptable. But I didn't yell at her. I just cried in my car and then took an impromptu 14-hour road trip to another state, both of which are more acceptable responses than yelling at a customer service employee who has no control over the amount of cream in my dessert. People were getting so upset that they couldn't have chicken that as I was walking out with my bag of chicken, I was looking around in the dark like, I hope nobody mugs me for my chicken, which sounds like a crazy thought, but it was a genuine thought because crazier things have happened in the last few years than someone getting mugged over chicken. Like, it could happen.
Am I the asshole for touching my wife's tampon box? It sounds like a petty fight, but she's really pissed with me right now. So I was reorganizing the storage room the other day and came across a box of tampons. The box was being kept behind some cleaning products in the cabinet, so I removed it and put it on top of the counter. So I could clean out the cabinet, you know? I resumed cleaning and put everything back except for the tampon box because I thought it didn't belong there, so I put it inside the bathroom and left it there. At 1 p.m., my wife got home, went to the storage room, then came back freaking out asking if I was in there earlier. I said yes, I reorganized and cleaned the storage room, and she got upset asking about the box. Am I the asshole for touching my wife's tampon box? She rushed into the bathroom, stayed there a few minutes, then came back yelling at me for touching her stuff. I asked what she meant by touching her stuff. I was just cleaning and came across the tampon box, which I had no idea why it was there in the first place. She berated me about touching her stuff no matter where it is, so she doesn't have to go and look for it. She then said I should have just left it as is, which to me was ridiculous because she did not need it right then. Like, what's the big deal? She got irritated and called me an asshole for arguing with her about it when I'm in the wrong. I said that I don't think what I did justified her yelling at me, and it's not like I threw the box away.